Good morning, good afternoon or good evening everybody, and welcome back to my YouTube channel and to another installment in the Dining Room Central Railroad build. Actually, I suppose you could say it's the last installment, because if you're watching last time you will have seen me complete the railroad. This week I'm going to dismantle it and pack it up for shipping. Now I'm not going to be accompanying this one to the client's home. Instead it is getting packed into a trailer and a trucking company is going to haul it down there. And we're paying for the trailer by the foot. So obviously I want to make sure that I pack it as efficiently as possible. Anyway, without further ado, let's just head out to the workshop and get the layout dismantled.
Panning around the railroad, you can see that I have a train on it. The customer and I have agreed that it's time to stop working on it, stop adding stuff and get it shipped out. So this morning I was running some trains, making some videos, and now it's time to start packing it up. Obviously the first thing to do is to put away the detachable stuff, the trains, the control system, and everything that's over here on my workbench, scenic materials, everything like that. I need to get everything out of the way so I got some room to work as much as anything. So let me start by doing that and I'll be right back. Well, I have now put away most of the loose stuff. There's a box here that's not finished yet, and there's all those boxes down there. And I have built a crate for the trestle and got that safely packed away. I didn't think to take photographs as I was working, but basically it's upside down in this purpose-built crate. I've got a lot of light bulky stuff packed around it, like leftover scenery materials and stuff like that, and it's completely filled with packing peanuts, so it should be pretty much indestructible. Next task is to start dismantling the railroad itself. Haven't decided yet where I'm going to start, but I don't think it'll take anywhere near as long as the last one, so don't go away. I will check in with you again periodically. The method of getting the swing gate out without dropping it is to put temporary legs under the outer end and in that back corner behind the hinge. And now I can just take the brass hinge screws out and then just let it support itself on these legs. And in the trailer it will travel on those legs as well, just to make sure it doesn't fall over and get wrecked. In order to protect the fragile bridges, I discussed it with the customer and we decided the best way to do it is just to screw pieces of masonite over the critical areas. It may seem counterintuitive putting screws through the finished fascia, but it's really easy to spackle the holes and sand them and get it perfect again. We both feel that it is more important to make sure that the bridges are protected en route. And as I say, the easiest way of doing that is just to screw sheets of masonite over the top of them. Here's the first piece cut. I'm going to put one on each side of the swing gate and a full 8-foot piece wrapped around the end of the main helix section. So let me continue and I'll be right back. Well, that is the swing gate all packed up for shipping. The two bridges are both pretty well protected, and it's only 12 holes in the fascia, 6 at the bottom, 6 at the top. Well, that is about half the railroad dismantled. I just have the peninsula to do, and these are some of the heaviest pieces, but I'm going to leave those until later. I'm going to go in, take a break, have some lunch, and I'll be back out this afternoon. So don't go away, I'll check in with you again later. Well, I've just had to crawl under the railroad and put gussets on the two legs at this end of the helix section. Initially I was hoping to be able to do that after I tipped it on its side, where it's a lot more comfortable. But I've just realized that what I have to do next is separate everything that I have along this plane here and then slide it a few inches away from the rest of it. And with the amount of weight that's on those legs now, if I don't put the gussets on first, they could easily collapse. I don't want to risk that happening, so I have to put the gussets on now. Anyway, now I can just take out all the bolts between these two halves and separate them. So let me get on with that, and I'll be right back. Well, it was a bit of a fight because I had 10 bolts to get out, and they were all in locations that were a little bit difficult to reach. But it didn't take very long, and fortunately there was no glue seepage. So once I got them all out, I just pulled the end board and it's now separated. You can see there's about a ½ inch gap between them. I'm just going to slide this portion of the railroad back a bit, just far enough to work on it, and then continue. Don't go away, I'll be right back. Well, this is just the main helix section that is still standing in the middle of the workshop. Everything else has been dismantled. And this is the part where I could use some help. But I don't have any, so I'm going to have to work it out by myself. I think I've worked out the right way of doing it. I have a stack of bricks at this end. I'm going to undo those two legs and then lift it up slightly, let them fall out, and then lower it onto the stack of bricks. And then I will gradually reduce the height of the stack of bricks until it can go all the way down to the ground. And then once that end is on the ground, I will repeat the process for the other end. Now I say on the ground, I don't want it touching the concrete. I want to put stickers underneath it so I can still get my fingers in to lift it. Because once it's flat, I'm going to have to turn it on its edge to separate the two parts, just to make sure they will come apart. And then I'll just put enough screws back in to hold it for transportation. I am not going to attempt to make video segments while I'm doing that. At least I don't think I will anyway. It's more important to get this safely on the ground without breaking it. So don't go away, I will check in with you again later. Right, well, that is one end lowered. It's resting on blocks of 4x4. And of course that is straining those legs, which is why I had to put the gussets in before I lowered it. Anyway, now I've just got to repeat the process at this end. Slightly more difficult because not only is there less room underneath the benchwork, but there's 6 screws each side instead of 4. So let me get on with that and I will be right back. Well, I was right in that this end was more difficult. Not getting the legs out, but getting the section down to ground level. It turned out that this end was too heavy for me to lift with one hand while moving the bricks with the other. So I put a 2x6 underneath it to use as a lever, and that made it possible. Anyway, I have 2-inch blocks on the one end and 4-inch blocks under the other. Next step is to tip it on its back. So I'm going to take a breather and then do that, and I'll be right back. Well, I had another change of plan. I decided it was too heavy to tip it on its back by myself without risking breaking it. So it's going to stay there until my help arrives to pack the trailer. So I'm just going to attach this masonite around the front, in front where the trestle goes, and then call it done. Well, that is all I'm going to do as far as protecting the trestle and the scenery area. This bit along here is just trees, and it's going to be in a position in the trailer where nothing's going to bump it anyway. So rather than continue the masonite and add even more weight, I'm going to leave that bit open. This is the bit that I was concerned about, because this is going to be stood up in the trailer. That's going to be the top, and there's going to be more benchwork sections on top of it. Now they can't fall down and destroy the trestle. So I'm going to go in now, just wait for the trailer to arrive. I'll see you then.
Well, that is all for this video, and it's nearly the end of the series on the Dining Room Central Railroad build. I do have a few clips of trains running through the scenic area, and I will post those from time to time. And I hope to see you back then. But in the meantime, thanks for watching, and bye for now.